It's interesting how the relationship we have with foods and our own body relates so well, and it's so connected to our relationship with the world, with people, with our happiness, our success, and even the relationship with creating, creativity, or creating. We are all creators in one way or another, in certain forms or other forms. We are all creating something in this world. And our relationship with food, we all have to eat, is so connected with our relationship to creating, with our relationship with others. And that is why, for a lot of people, when they begin to be determined about eating healthy or changing something about their well-being with food or exercise that is really authentic to their body, there's like a self-awareness initiation. And this also takes me to singing as an example, which is for me is a type of body exercise. Instead of body exercising this muscle, we're body exercising our vocal cords. And just like exercising sports, depending on the person, we all have a determined body exercise that nourishes our body and nourishes our consciousness. And voice singing can be one of those, And most people that love singing, and they don't have to be singers, will tell you that they love singing. They love playing with their voice and their tones and their tuning. And it's almost addictive. It's like such a pleasurable, it's pleasure when you sing. It gives pleasure. And as sports can be also like that. So I'm speaking from my own experience with music and singing, dancing, and sports. And even though I don't do these professionally, I could have done sports professionally and maybe music, even though it never occurred to me. With sports, it was offered to me. And for me, sports was never, my relationship with sports was never a competitive relationship. It was a pleasure relationship. And I believe that we all have that exercise in that relationship with our body. It's a relationship with our body. So every sport is very different. Some relationships are with our coordination. Some relationships are with body flow. And some sports are more mental and physical. So but it's a relationship with our body, with how we connect with our body. I am very physical, and I've done various of types of sports. I am very into coordination sports of visual sensing objects and catching, and I play a lot with balls and hockey, ice hockey, so a lot of speed and a lot of flexibility in my body and movement and flow. But every sport it varies a lot, So I I feel, and I can hear from my own body, that when I'm not doing sports, or when I'm not doing some type of exercise, there is a level of consciousness that is being repressed in my field, and it feels like it just needs to be out through body exercise because it enhances me. And that's just how it is. We're not just spirit and we're not just mental, we are physical. So there has to be a physical relationship or a physical movement flow that nourishes this relationship with our body. And food is also a relationship with our body that also is being voiced in our body. Our body is always saying, hey, I don't like this, I shouldn't eat this, hey, this I want. And it's very, very confusing because there are elements in our body if we eat a lot of junk food that are also speaking inside, but it's not really our body. It's like some bacteria, some fungus, some parasites or something, and they speak and they're like, "Hey, give me some sugar." So I'm I'm bringing this topic because it is sort of what my life, my whole life has been always very physical and learning about foods, my own body. And it is so interesting because this, my philosophy of my own life and the way I do everything and anything is that I must learn through my body first. So in sports, I do right now jujitsu, and we have a list of names and this and that, and I cannot go and learn the names before my body just learns. So I don't even bother even looking at the names. It might help in, but for me it is almost like it's more important to feel my body and learn through body memory. So it's funny because we will be introduced to like a new position, a new method, and another coach will teach you the same method but a different way, and they all have their own methods, but your body, not even your mind, your body is the one that is going to determine the right method for me, because I have a unique shape, a unique weight, and a unique body expression that is going to express in the way that it needs to express. So for me, jujitsu, it's it in my body, me learning my body through jujitsu is that I am like a speed person, like, and that happened to me in hockey as well. Like, speed is my thing. All of a sudden, like, my body in one hunch will do three things at the same and just like move really quick, and I don't even think about it, it just happens. And I think that is my body's gift, and it's so beautiful when you allow your body to express and show itself what it naturally does. And also I am very light, so people squish me. So I'm not saying I'm like good. I'm saying that it is beautiful to see our gifts within our body flow and our body expression. And this also speaks to voice. I love talking about voice because when I discovered voice for me, it was it was amazing, and it makes me passionate about singing. Like, I love singing, but I never had the guts to hear myself singing like on a recording or something, because when I was young, I was recorded singing and I thought I was a good, like, I loved singing. It was like amazing for me to sing. So I sing every day. Like, I sing almost every day since I was a little girl. So for me, singing is part of my life and expresses joy. When I'm happy, I'm singing. And when I'm going through something difficult in my life, sometimes I'm singing too. So singing is really important for me, and it's because I love the movement that happens here. It's just like it enhances me, and it can really clear things off for me. Like, I completely shape energies just by singing. So I I think that when I heard myself the first time, it was a heartbreak because I sounded horrible, and I was like, oh, and it kind of gave me like I continue singing, but I never again wanted to hear my voice in a recording because I just knew that it wasn't going to be for me. And social media has made me sing so much in my life. And at first it was kind of embarrassing. So I would put like one of those filters that changes voices in Snapchat. And I started like that. And then eventually I just didn't give a fuck and started singing. But as I heard my voice, the first time you have the courage to hear yourself is the time that you become self-aware. And then naturally, just like jujitsu, just like any sport, naturally, when you allow your body to make mistakes and to be squished and to be submitted, how you say it in jujitsu, but to make mistakes, to create, not to make the wrong moves in a sport or anything. When you allow yourself to learn, you start learning naturally. You don't even need a teacher. You learn naturally because this is a natural talent, and our body is so wise that it can teach us anything, anything. So singing for me happened naturally, although I had someone that loved music around me all the time because I dated somebody that sing, and so I learned a lot from this person. But at the same time, it really happened naturally for me because just listening to my voice, it was self-awareness, how I go high, how I go low. So listening to our voice is so important. And same with having the courage to speak up and share or say anything and hear our tone of voice and and see our posture and see ourselves. It is the courage to do it and know that that is art, that is beauty. Having the courage to step up and do what enhances ourselves, which is building the muscle of enhancing our body experience that we came to have. And our body wants to experience, it wants to experience movement, experience flow, experience coordination, experience strength, and agility. Agility? Habilidad. Agility. I don't know, but I don't know the word exactly how it's said in English, but I think it's a very useful word for this because, like, how much can we stretch ourselves? And we are not fit the same. So for some people, it will be like some type of sport or some type of movement or some type of flow or some type of stretch or some type of breathing. It could be even breathing, it can be anything, but our body needs to be enhanced. It needs to be nourished and expressed. And I love this. So let's tune in again to the food. So with food, our system requires certain foods. And it's funny because it seems to me that everybody has a very special diet. Like, there's no such thing as just one diet, I don't think. So we all have a unique diet that is perfect for us, and it changes. So that's what I call conscious eating, which is kind of like the flow that I try to have with food. But it is easy to fall into cravings and parasite cravings that we have of sugars and junk food and stuff like that. And we can even crave food just by smelling it. Because I was working doing deliveries of food and smelling all types of junky, all types of food. And just the smell was telling me, eat me, eat. And I started craving that foods that I don't crave since very long time. Like, I don't eat junk food since I was very young. And I'm very young, I mean like 14. I stopped eating junk food and I never came back to it ever. And lately, weirdly, I started eating some foods that I wasn't meant to. And it was kind of like, I'm free. I was having the mentality that I'm free. I can eat certain, and so it wasn't extreme, but it's still, I broke the rule. And then, yeah. And then I started having stomach issues. So, and when I came back into extreme healthiness, which I haven't been in a while too, because conscious eating is not extreme healthiness. Conscious eating is, for me, is freely eating, but not eating foods that are not organic, that are not, I don't know what organic means when you go to the grocery store and it says organic or non-organic. I really don't get it. I mean organic meaning like from the ground. Most of the foods that I eat when I'm consciously eating is little, it's like 10% processed and then 10 to 15% processed, and then the rest is regular foods, and then or earthly foods. But right now it kind of, but sometimes conscious eating can be a little bit like maybe 30% processed. And I think I can handle it. The thing is that when we're going through a lot of stress and changes in our life, our body needs rest. So I also, conscious eating for me is also resting from eating. Like there are days that I'm not such an eater. I'm not a big eater. So I won't eat that much. I'll eat very simple and very fresh and very like little. So yeah, I'm now that I'm going back into healthily eating, I'm still consciously eating, meaning that if I don't feel hungry, I don't eat that much. Because I believe that we're not that hungry, our body's asking for rest. And we determine that by, I determine that because my body's not telling me every day, don't eat. It's more like, oh, today, don't eat. And I ask myself, how am I feeling today? Oh, actually, I'm pretty stressed. I'm going through this, I'm going through that. So then I understand and I'm like, actually, yes, I don't want to eat. I want to exercise. So it's kind of like learning to speak with our body and understanding what cravings, where are the cravings coming from and when do we need to rest and all that, which is something that only our body can teach us, not someone else. And I'm only sharing this because it's been my experience with my own body in foods. So now that I had to go into like extreme healthy again, which means zero processed foods. Every time I come back into like healthy eating is almost like a pause from eating just to eat. It's uh it's a gratitude about foods. It's a gratitude that we take things for granted so much. And no matter how much we try not to, we take it for granted. And we know we're taking it for granted. Like sometimes I know. Like I'm sitting there and I'm like, I shouldn't be I shouldn't be watching this or looking at my phone while I'm eating. I shouldn't be thinking so much about this while I'm eating. I should be just eating. And I think that it's that it eating and healthy and understanding my body through foods has been the most enhancing exercise of self-awareness that I've ever made. So to conclude, I wanted to bring up self-awareness practices that are in our daily life. We all have some type of body exercise that we do daily. That might be just speaking a lot. And having the self-awareness to hear ourselves or to see ourselves is the most courageous thing to do because it brings reflection about what we're doing, and it brings improvement naturally. You don't even have to plan it. Just observing, just practicing the the exercise of observing ourselves speak, observing ourselves sing, observing ourselves practice. And it doesn't have to be recorded. Maybe for singing or speaking, we want to hear our voice. But for body exercises, we don't have to see necessarily. We can just experience it through our body. So it really varies depending on the person. And then how it all connects to also the way how we relate with others. It always shows us such a beautiful reflection in how we relate with the world outside of us, because how we relate to our body and to ourselves is the way that we are going to relate with the world, even if it's verbally or even if it's just energetically in our mind. How we are visualizing or seeing the world outside of us can change so much in the way we relate to ourselves and we see ourselves. And that is just a reflection that I've been having intensely. And that's it. So I hope this makes sense, and I'll do more videos later. Bye.